Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Catherine and I work as a management consultant at McKinsey. Outside my client work, I also lead recruitment efforts at some of the non-target schools on the West Coast. Now as we step into October, I know a lot of you out there who applied for a consultant position this year are probably in the middle of your interviews, which is why I thought it would be really great for me to do a video series on management consulting interviews. Today's video is going to be the first episode to the video series, and I thought I want to start with talking about behavioral interviews, or as McKinsey calls it, personal experience interviews, because this is usually a section that a lot of candidates tend to overlook and underprepare, but I think it's actually very, very crucial to the assessment process. I will be sharing my perspectives on what personal experience interviews are, how the process looks like, what qualities are the interviewers looking for, and some tips on how you can select and craft your stories. My goal is that at the end of the video, you're going to have a clear understanding of why we care about personal experience interviews, the qualities that you want to highlight, and how you want to select your stories. If you find my sharing today helpful, please support me down below and let me know your suggestions for any future content. Without further ado, let's get started. The personal experience interview, or the PEI, is a type of interview designed to test your team and client-centric skills by asking you to replay an example of these capabilities from a challenging situation from the past. It is a great opportunity to show who you are as a person and to talk about your accomplishments beyond the resume. So make sure you're putting in as much thought and efforts into the PEIs as you do with the normal structured case interviews. The PEI section usually happens in the beginning of your 15 minutes interview and usually runs for 10 to 15 minutes. The questions usually take the format of, tell me about a time when something. For example, tell me about a time you led a team to overcome a challenge. Tell me about a time you managed conflicts in the team setting. The interviewer will ask one question and then a series of follow-up questions to really get deep into the details and see if you display the qualities that they are looking for. And that brings me to my second topic. What qualities are these firms looking for? The McKinsey interview website actually tells you the exact 4 qualities the company is looking for in its candidates. And for the purpose of the PEI section, we are going to focus on 3 of the 4 qualities: personal impact, entrepreneurial drive, and inclusive leadership. The 4th one is problem-solving skills, which will be adequately tested in your structured case interviews. I've asked my friends from Bain and BCG, and they say very similar things when it comes to the qualities or traits that companies are looking for: leadership, motivation, collaboration, etc. So really, these firms are looking for the same qualities in candidates. If your story can capture 1 or 2, or even all 3 of these qualities really well, then you are very much on the route to success. Now, I am going to walk you through what each of these 3 qualities mean and how you can showcase them in your stories. I want to start with the leadership piece because this is such a crucial part to our development at the firm that even our reviews are conducted against what we call the leadership development model. And it makes sense. As a business analyst, you need to be able to lead your own work stream and problem solving. As you later on progress to engagement manager, you need to be able to lead a whole client service team. As you become a partner, you're not only leading your client service teams, but also firm initiatives, capability building, certain practice, an entire office or group of offices. So you see, leadership development is so embedded to every single step of your progress at the firm. But what is inclusive leadership? In the past, our website actually only says leadership, so the word inclusive was added recently. And it's because inclusion and diversity have been such a huge focus of the firm these years and are crucial to create holistic impact. So, what is inclusive leadership? The McKinsey interview website explains it as the ability to lead teams of people with different backgrounds and create a sense of belonging where everyone can be at their best. So as you select your story, think about the times that you displayed leadership in a diverse team environment. Maybe you participated in a project where there are different vendors or people from different business units. Maybe you led a student club event involving school faculty, professional guest speakers, students from different majors and backgrounds. Whichever type of stories you share, make sure you're highlighting the actions you took to foster effective collaboration in a diverse team environment, especially in complex situations with many stakeholders involved. The next quality I want to deep dive in is entrepreneurial drive. Solving tough problems requires you to think outside of the box, to mobilize and leverage the resources you have, and to constantly push for a better answer. So what does that mean for your stories? Well, when I think back on my work at the firm, there are many times that I had no clue what the right answer is. When I get a question, a lot of times my reaction is this. Huh? However, an important skill as a consultant is to proactively figure out how to get to the right answer and take leadership in driving the problem forward. And that could mean many things. It could mean finding time with our team leadership to problem solve it together, interviewing external or internal experts to get their industry expertise, or launching a research on existing documents or reports from firm intranet or third-party vendors. So when you think about your stories, it's a good start to recall the times where you have displayed these entrepreneurial spirits when facing a difficult problem. Now your interviewer wants to know how you have demonstrated personal impact working with a wide range of individuals in difficult settings, especially when you needed to work with someone with an opposing opinion to yours. When you brainstorm your stories, ask yourself, what role did you play? What work did you drive? What kind of conflicts did you encounter? How did you overcome the challenges and what results did you achieve? The motif here is you. Make sure you talk about what you did and what impact you created. I have heard many stories from candidates in my mock interviews or coffee chats where people talk extensively about the detailed process of their projects, spent 3 minutes explaining the jargon, or only spoke to what the team did and the results the team achieved. Now, I know it probably took the whole team's efforts to devise business strategies or implement solutions. But I want you to think about the specific actions that you took, especially when you encountered conflicts, and the impact that you created to contribute to the overall and eventual team success. So far, we've already talked about what PEI is and what qualities companies are looking for. Before I wrap up today's video, I want to share 2 more tips or things for you to keep in mind as you select and craft your stories. Tip number 1, choose a story with a challenging setting. Now, by this point, I must have said the word challenging for like a million times. And it's because it's really important that you share a story that shows how you navigated the complexities in a situation, how you worked through obstacles and eventually achieved success. Because to be honest, being a consultant is hard. You're dealing with tough problems, pressing timelines, and sometimes difficult clients and leadership. If everything in your story is smooth sailing, it doesn't say as much about your capability to succeed in the consulting role as to when you had to be resilient, to come out of your comfort zone, push through difficulties, and still achieve distinctive results. So make sure you're choosing an example where you were stretched, where you had to come out of your comfort zone to solve a tough problem, to best demonstrate your ability. Tip number 2, be prepared to share the details. We're not looking for quantity. We want you to share one story and get deep on the details. And how that manifests in the interview is that your interviewer could ask you a question and a series of follow-up questions to really get deep on the story details. Let's take the example of, tell me about a time you managed conflict in a team setting. Your interviewer could ask you questions like, how you reacted initially? How did the other person respond? What were you thinking? How did the rest of the team react? So you can see we really ask for a lot of details. So what this means for you as a candidate as you select and craft your story is that 1, make sure there's something interesting or tactical to the story that you can build on. And 2, make sure you are thinking about all these follow-up questions that you could encounter and be prepared to answer them. So, to wrap up, we've talked about what PEI is. It is an interview designed to test your team and client-centric skills. We've talked about the qualities that companies are looking for: personal impact, entrepreneurial drive, inclusive leadership. And we talked about my additional tips on how you can select and craft your stories. It's been great spending time with you guys. I hope you found my sharing today helpful, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!